Peace, peace, peace. All right, we back. We are back. The serious mysteries in our earthly origin is the topic for tonight. All right, so just stay a hold and we're going to get it going. Before we go, let's talk about December the 20th, 21st, 22nd. That's going to be in Florida. That would be the winter solstice. For those interested, hit us up at royalhouse777@gmail.com or YALHOUSE777@gmail.com or Dr. Alim El-Bey @gmail.com. That's DRALIMELBEY @gmail.com. Hit us up if you're interested. Then we have our March event. All right, our March event is coming up. You definitely want to check that out. All right. You don't want to miss it. That is the conference for March. All right. March 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You definitely want to be there for that. You don't want to miss that. All right. This is United Washington, D. Dr. Manya. And you definitely want to check that out. In fact, you want further information for both events, go to our website, www.dralimelbey.com, dralimelbey.com, and go to calendar of events and check us out. All right, so let's get started. This is Serious Mysteries in Our Earthly Origin. You know how we do. All right, so we spoke about before these 7 worlds. So we're gonna go with the physical world, which is broken down into 2 parts. Most people only know solid, liquid, and gas. They forget about the fact of chemical ether, light ether, and reflective ether. All right, that's the physical world. Then you have the desire world, in which that talks about the passion, low desires, impressionability, wishes, feeling, broken down to interest and indifference. You have the soul life, soul light, soul power. And then you have the world of thought, broken down into 2, abstract thought, concrete thought. Within the concrete thought, you have the archetypal form, universal vitality, desire, and emotions. Right? You have the spirit mirror itself in matter. Then in the abstract thought, you have desires and emotions in animals and man. You have the life in plants, animals, and man. You have minerals, plant, animals, and man. This is the kingdom in which that is spoken of within the Holy Quran, Circle 7 by Prophet Noble Drali, divinely prepared. You have the world of light, life, spirit, which is the threefold spirit in man. You have the world of divine spirit, the highest spiritual influence in man. You have the world of virgin spirits, all right, where the virgin spirits are differentiated in God before the pilgrimage through matter. Then you have the world of God, consisting of 7 regions of God. These 7 worlds symbolizes the 7 planes in a sense. All right, and what Prophet Noble not just the Prophet Noble Drali, he said he was going to go to the soul plane. All right, so that would be looked at as the desire world, as the soul power, soul light, and soul light, attraction. All right. And then, of course, you have the wishes, impressionability, passion, and low desires, which is repulsion. So it's based on the yin and yang aspect. It's also based on, as you see, it's also based on centrifugal and centrifugal forces, inhaling and exhaling. All right, attraction, repulsion, magnetism. All right, but as I was saying, Prophet Muhammad is said to have gone up into the seven worlds, or the seven heavens, as they are called. Okay, he was taken up on a Baruch, a white horse. All right, a lightning white horse. All right, we know what that is symbolic to. We know that's Kundalini. All right, prana, in which that takes you up into these heavens. All right, the seven lower worlds symbolizes the worlds that you can meet and go to right now, which is called the etheric region, chemical and the etheric region. All right, solid, liquid, and gas, chemical ether, light, light, light ether, and reflecting ether. Right, you can go to these worlds right now. You don't have to do anything special per se. All right. Now, this is from the Rosicrucians information. Now, there's another way to look at this, the seven planes and the 49 subplanes of the cosmic physical plane. All right. And that is here to the right. You have the physical, emotional, mental, intuitive, spiritual, um, monadic, and divine. Okay. Now keep the monad in mind, because based on the teachings, monad means a singularity. It's referring to in cosmology to the supreme being, divinity, or the totality of all things. All right. Now this dot is in your head right now. This is the circle dot, which is used by the Pythagoreans, later Greeks. And of course, we know Pythagoras spent 24 years out of the 40-year system in Egypt, Kemet, Temeri, in which that he learned. He never finished the school, but this is just some of the information in which that he brought out, all right, before he went into the so-called Grecian lands. Now, the concept was reportedly conceived by the Pythagoreans and may refer variously to a single source acting alone. All right, now this is talking about the power of the mind and the ancestors, and I'll get to that in a second. All right, and begin to start making some sense. All right, because Prophet well, the apostle Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said something. He said, which I won't go into all of this here, but he said this, that there's no birth record, meaning there is no beginning record of the Black people. They have been here forever and ever they have. We do not know nothing about their beginning. There is no prophecy of any ending of them. This is known. The world knows it. All right. Now, you go to Black Root Science, it breaks down that the stars are the condensation of the minds of our ancestors that came from the previous universe. All right, so before, this is the divine portion that we seen earlier. So before the nomad or the monad, right here, we seen the monadic, and before that, the divine. So before, it was the beginning of this particular universe. It says this, that at the end of the previous universe, our ancestors expanded their mind beyond measure until they encompassed their whole universe. Then the process of expansion caused an apparent contraction of their universe until it was reduced to the size of a single planet. See, this is the monad that you see here, the circle dot. That is the monad. All right. So then it says, in stages in the empty space surrounding the new earth, creating seven substance. All right, it becomes magnetism, electricity, light, heat, energy, etc. All right, now of course, all of that will correlate to what we call chemical etheric region, so forth and so on. All right. Of course, the physical world, the desire world, the world of thought, the world of life spirit, the world of divine spirit, the world of virgin spirits, the world of God. All right. And it says would eventually form the new stars after many trillions of years. All right. So the minds of our ancestors condensed and brought everything into a singularity, a unit, one. All right. This is why Allah is called Al Ahad. All right. The one. The brain is the conductor, or better yet, the mind is. All right. As it manifests or projects onto the brain, is receiving signals from all over the universe, 70,000 in diameter. In fact, the mind is the universe in miniature form. All right. It's the microcosm of the macrocosm. All right. All right. That's what it is. Those signals can come from so many places. Huh? All right, those signals can come from so many places, including shadow beings through thoughts. Why? Because they are thought forms. So it's important to focus on proper thoughts, thoughts that are uplifting, because you have to remember that the breath is the mind in action, right? So the way that you breathe is the way that your thoughts are manifested and your thoughts are generated. All right. Physicists find facts that the universe is a giant brain. You know what? It's the mind. It's the mind. Okay. That's what it is. So this is what we do know is that God is mind, and that was the mind of your ancestors, i.e., you and I, and the mind is totality. The universe is created in the mind of God. The laws of the universe follow the laws of mind. Everything is made of pure energy, which is consciousness. Consciousness creates everything and directs everything. By understanding the mind, we are able to understand the apparent reality. And I say apparent reality because, once again, what we call reality is actually a causal, higher mental, similar to a computer program construct, i.e., matrix, a simulation, maintained by us, our minds, and the minds of our ancestors, no longer in human form, through a casual or causal consensus. Right? That's what's going on. Right? So man is mind, and this is told to us in the Holy Quran, Circle 7. The creation and fall of man, chapter 1. Man is a thought of Allah, and all thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time, and things that are concerned with time begins and end. The thoughts of Allah are the everlasting of the past until the never-ending days to come. So man is a thought of Allah. So man is a living thought form. All right. Now you get the book "What Happened After Death" um, by Magine Whippler. She says that there are many different types of entities who have never lived in the material world can be found on first and second overtones of the astral plane. Now, remember we spoke about that there's 7 levels to each plane, as you see here. There's 49, right? There's 7 main levels and 7 sub-levels, okay? This is what we was talking about. And so this is the thing. She's saying that there are many beings, entities that exist on these particular realms. density levels, cosmic zones, plane, it, right? Plane, Plane, you add the T, planet, planes, as in the third dimensional plane, right? And the first and second overtones of the astral plane, which are the lower planes, which is close to this third dimensional plane, and is part of the fourth dimensional plane. And so she says, for example, fairies, elves, genies, divas or divas, gnomes, and even so-called extraterrestrials, greys, reptilians, insectoids, etc. They have collectively populated our human imagination. Therefore, they exist on the astral plane because we have conjured them into existence by envisioning them through a myriad of fables, stories, and or folk tales, thus giving each of them a life of its very own. It is explained that everything that we think or imagine is instantly made on the astral plane and is as real there as we have imagined it to be. Why? Because the mind is so powerful, all right, that it can go beyond the third dimensional parent substance, all right, into these higher worlds. Get the book, The Human Aura, Astral Light, or Colors, and Thought Forms. The mind cannot operate without the help of prana. So the mind utilizes prana. Therefore, prana is also the sum total of all latent forces and powers which are hidden in man and which lies everywhere around us. All forces, all powers, and prana spring forth from the fountain of common source, Atman. Right? Atman, all right, is the macrocosm of the microcosm, which is Atma, which is atom, which is Adam, Cataman, the heavenly man, which is talking about the soul itself. And it's derived from black energy, in turn from dark energy, in turn from black matter. All right. Professor Eliza Gary said that the long, dark, soundless space is between 40,000 and 400 trillion vibrations per second. And where light appears to cease is in the infinity range of beyond 700 trillion vibrations per second. In the universe of motion. Therefore, vibration was to be found underlying all manifestations of energy in all forms of matter. So, what causes that? Prana. Prana is the energy in which that we was talking about, that the universe is creating the mind of God. Everything is made of pure energy, which is conscious. So prana is God is energy, a vibrating relative to the frequency of the source being the very center, the monad, center of the universe of energy, and the physical world being its most outermost shell. The physical three-dimensional universes are observed by means of the physical senses, existing at the lowest rate of the vibration and the highest density. The physical universe of matter represents only a tiny fraction of the universe of energy and vibration in its entirety. God is mind. Mind is totality, right? But not by itself. It's with that energy, which is prana, as it is said here. So the mind of the ancestor utilized wormholes to generate genetic material, right? From the wormholes to the 4 levels of the genome DNA molecule, right? This is how you get the waves and then particles. We know that waves, all right, is what happens upon non-observation with the electron. Upon observation, particles are formed. All right, so this is us being conscious as we was in our mind state of being conscious of the particles that we can utilize to transform from the invisible into the visible. All right, from the etheric into matter. That's what this is really all talking about. Get the book, The Death of Ignorance, New Age Science by Dr. Fred Bell, right? And he breaks this information down. Get the other book, Blackout Through Whitewash, right, by Dr. Suzar. She says humanity's first prototype began as a long-lived, godlike, ethereal, hermaphroditic being that gradually polarized into opposite sexes, male or female, and solidified into flesh form. She drops it on you. This is not just her, this is the theosophical rendition. All right? Madame Blavatsky, the Anthroposophical Society under Rudolf Steiner. Right? They all speak of this. Hence the Rosicrucian teachings. That's really what we're talking about. Right? And from this ethereal, hermaphroditic, actually we say you had the hermaphrodites and you had the hermaphrodites. Right? Hermaphrodites would be the masculine and hermaphrodites would be more of the feminine. And from the hermaphrodites is how the females came about, and then from later on from the hermaphrodite in which that the male came from. And of course there's still in between 1 out of 2,000 children born today in which that still has the remnants of this hermaphroditic genitalia, of being able to have both genitalias, and then of course determining which one is dominant is what that child would be, whether it's going to be a male child, then of course that means that the penis is active and the vagina is closed up. They would sew that up, seal it up, however they do it there. And then of course, if the vagina is active, then they would normally cut off the clitoris or the penis, that form it into a clitoris, however they do it. So this is really what happens. All right. So we're talking about the androgynous state, and from the ethereal androgynous state is how you get the hermaphroditic and the hermaphroditic beings that polarize into the opposite sex, female and male, and then solidified into fleshly form. All right. So, and this is the proof. If you get a morphogenetic process in low energy electromagnetic fields by ST and SP Bassamian, also you can get the journals of biology, physics, or biological physics in Stillwater, Oklahoma. They speak of that the ancients understood of a life force principle in nature was scientifically revalidated in 1986 by a Sydney, which is talking about in Australia, by Base Energy Research Team. They rediscovered a hitherto unknown low energy spiraling. Spiraling now talking about in a spiraling or in a type of pattern similar to your DNA, is spiraling, right? Electromagnetic field in expression of one fundamental background field, all right? And found to be responsible agent for form, growth, development, and behavioral patterns in nature. It's called the morphogenetic or the morphogenesis. The morphogenesis. All right, and this is an example of that. You have the image on the left, which is 3 months old fetus, known as a quantograph, right? A photo from the quantum field. It was created while the pregnant woman was hundreds of miles away. The image came from accessing information available in only a drop of her blood. So every cell, all 76 trillion cells in her body, went into helping form this child into existence, or carry an image of this child. Okay, only 3 months. All right, in the womb. The image on the right is called a quantogram or hologram of the quantum field, showing three-dimensional characteristics of the figures. So this is how we come into existence, from an ethereal state into a physical state, fleshly state, right? So it's just like when you purchase a computer from the store, it comes with an operating system pre-installed. The same way when the child is born, the child comes into the world with their operating system pre-installed. You do not teach a child to breathe. You do not teach a child, teach their heart to beat, or the operating system do not teach them to have to go to the tick. The operating system and additional programs installed in the computer are stored in a computer's memory. Well, the memories of the human biocomputer consist of DNA and the nervous system. And the nervous system handles both short-term and long-term memories, and ultimately stores long-term memory in DNA. And this long-term memory stored in DNA thus can actually be passed down to future generations. And this is where ancestral family memories and tendencies come from. Okay? So let's talk more about these morphic units. It says natural system or morphic units of all levels of complexity. So you have subatomic particles, you have atoms, molecules, crystals, cells, tissues, organs, organisms, societies of organisms, all animated, organized, and coordinated by the morphic field, which contains an inherited memory. An inherited memory. Remember, you are a concentration of 7 generations on your mother's side, 7 generations on your father's side. You are a concentration of 14 generations concentrated. You are that concentration of their thoughts, of their memories. Matter of fact, you are a walking thought form of them. Right? Natural systems inherit their collective memory from all previous things of their kind by a process called morphic resonance, with the result that patterns of development and behavior becomes increasingly habitual through repetition. Right? This is a continuous spectrum of morphic fields, including morphic genetic fields, behavioral fields, mental fields, and social and cultural fields. This is Dr. Rupert Sheldrake. All right, he's one of the pioneers in the field of morphic genetics, genetics. Right, so definitely check out any information on him. And we know this because people talk about the popularization of the effect, which is the 100 monkey theory, in which they speak about the story of the 100 monkey effects, which was published by Lowell Watson, all right, forwarded to Lawrence Blair, Rhythms of Vision in 1975, and spread with the appearance of Watson's 1979 book, Lifetide. Right? And the account is that the unidentified scientist was conducting a study of macaque monkeys on Japan's island of Koishima in 1952. These scientists observed that some of these monkeys learned to wash sweet potatoes, and gradually this new behavior spread through the younger generation of monkeys in the usual fashion through observation and repetition. Watson then concluded that the researchers observed that once a critical number of monkeys was reached, i.e. the 100th monkey, this previously learned behavior instantly spread across the waters to monkeys on nearby islands. So this means that not only do this information is through the sexual act, it is through these mental and social and cultural fields in which that behavior fields, mental fields, and social and cultural fields. So it's not just through the morphogenetics, it's not just through the genetics, but it's through the behavior, it's through the mental, the social, and cultural fields. All right. So monkeys are able to demonstrate this, and we are allegedly a level or so above the monkey. Then we too have the same capability. All right. So we find something very interesting is that we're talking about triple stage darkness and how this universe formed out of the mind of our ancestors. But from that monad, we find that even before the monad come into existence, we came from the previous universe, which would be considered the Ein or nothingness. Then you had the Ein Sof, which means limitless nothingness. Then you get the Ein Sophie Or, which is the limitless light, which would be symbolic to that dot, which correlates to triple stage darkness. Right? You have black energy, dark matter, and you have melanin. So the Ein Sophie which is limitless light, which is that dot, symbolizes melanin. It also symbolizes Ausar, Ausar, Ein Sophie Iya, Asher, Iya, Asher, Asher become Ausar. I am that which that I am. All right. M is Om. M is Om. Am, Om, Om. Aum. Am is Aum, as in Amen. All right. It's the sacred sound, the name of consciousness. That is the name of consciousness. This is why this mantra is chanted in the Hinduism, and by the Hindus, by the Buddhists, by Jain, by the Jainism, within Jainism, within Sikhism. All right, this is why. Om is one of the most important spiritual symbols also. Pratima, it refers to the Atman, right? Talk about the soul, the self within, and the Brahman, the ultimate reality, entirety of the universe. Truth, divine, spirit, supreme spirit, cosmic principles, knowledge. Right? The Hebrew and Arabic is the Ein, which is the highest and the first of the vowels, as you see here. It is literally translated as nothingness or nothing. Just like Allah means nothingness. Saraswati means nothingness. All right? Nirvana means a state of nothingness. It is the absolute emptiness, the opposite of existence, complete absence. Ein Sof is the middle of the veil, and it proceeds from Ein by necessity. It is literally translated as no limit, as in no limit production. If there is nothing, that there is no boundaries or limitations. This is the limitless foundation, the eternal in its purest sense. Ein Sophie is the lower veil, situated closest to the tree of life, and it proceeds forth from the Ein Sof as of necessity. It means limitless or eternal light, without any limitations or things happening by the virtue of the fact that there is no reason why they shouldn't. Light plays a very important role, all right? Allah itself, created from a state of nothingness, or in the omnipresent potentiality, a womb of triple darkness. This is triple darkness, Ein, Ein Sof, Ein Sofiur. Right? This dark matter state is nothingness. No particular thing, aim, or purpose, with all things simultaneously, zero equals cipher. Allah, the universal mind, intangible intelligence, was, is absolute all things. This absolute state is fundamentally composed of dark matter, the precursor to matter, which is the undifferentiated substance of reality. This state of nothingness causes Allah self to realize self. Therefore, nothingness or nothing in activity causes Allah, me, I, Allah, always was, always will be, and no birth record can be ascribed to me. Allah, the universal mind. The spark and the electrical implosion becomes self-realization. Right? This is the origin of this, and this is why in the Quran it starts out with Al-Fatiha. And all 7 stanzas symbolizes the opening of the 7 seals, the 7 churches, the 7 chakras. All right. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amen. These 7 stanzas, these Eins sounds at the end of these 7 stanzas go into awakening the 7 chakras. Professor Keith Moore, one of the most famous embryology scientists in the world, says that the embryo moves from one developing stage to another inside 3 veils that was mentioned, right? That was mentioned in the Holy Quran, as God said, in the 3 veils of darkness. The 3 veils of darkness may refer to the anterior abdominal wall, the uterine wall, and the amniotic chorionic membrane. Right? So this goes back to the Holy Quran, Surah 39, Ayat 6, verse 6, which says, He creates you in the womb of your mother's creation after creation within triple darknesses. So not only do we have spiritual 3 realms, or 3 veils of darkness, or triple stage darkness, but we have that within the womb also. So that is very fascinating. All right. Now, to correlate this, we go to the dark light consciousness, melanin, serpent power, and the luminous matrix of reality. This is by Dr. Edward Bruce Bynum. And he drops this information. All right, he drops it. And he tells you right here is that the living interconnected web of life on Earth and Gaia is real. Almost forgotten in recent centuries, in the eternal reoccurrence, it is now reemerging. Gaia enfolding the Earth and also extends into the vast darkness of interstellar space, where visible light is but 7% of the luminous matter, and its other 93% is unseen. This unseen reality is apparently composed of a mysterious darkness that, together with space folding gravity surrounding our galaxy and holds the constellations together, this stellar darkness calls to us in this dynamic. We will also suggest why this dark matter may, in some sense, interact with consciousness itself. All right, so he breaks that information down. No problem. Quite clearly. as a matter of fact. All right, so we look at these three veils again. And as you see, this is above Ketha. It says the cloud veils in the Ain formulating the hidden Sephirah and the concentrating in Ketha, the first Sephirah. Right? So these three veils, right? Talk about the science of melanin, right? Once again, black energy, dark matter, melanin comes into the pineal gland, or the fourth eye in this case, the galaxy in which that spirals down, all right, into what we call the pineal gland. And what we find out is that the Ain, A-I-N, or I, or A-Y-I-N, which is in Hebrew and Arabic, the 16th and 18th letter, we find that the Ain is, the symbol is an eye, one eye, all right, just one eye, right? Even in the Proto-Semitic, you have Ain, which is the eye, and the Phoenician's letter has an eye shape, ultimately derived from the ear, all right, hieroglyphics. To this day, Ain in Hebrew, in Arabic, and Maltese means eye, or Ain in Assyrian, okay? You have the Proto-Canine, or Canaanite, I should say, the first letter. And as you see here, Ain is Omicron. Omicron, once again. And then it's an I. And above the I, you see I knew, as in I knew. All right, and we'll get to that. So you have in the Holy Bible, the New Testament, Matthew 6:22-23, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore the eye be single, the whole body shall be filled of light. But if the eye be evil, then our whole body shall be filled of darkness. If therefore the light that is indeed be darkness, how great is the darkness? All right. So look at that. All right. We see that the symbol of Ain written in Arabic is nothing more than the backwards Om sound written within the Vedic or Sanskrit. And Om is everything. It's the source, it's the vibration, the consciousness of the entire universe. Om. The sacred sound, the name of consciousness. It is a spiritual icon of Hindu religion. It is also a mantra in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. In Hinduism, Om is one of the most important spiritual symbols that we spoke about. All right? God manifests in creation as the cosmic vibration, which expresses itself as cosmic sound and cosmic light. The cosmic sound is the synthesis of all the sounds of this highly vibrating life force, or lifetrons, electrons, protons, all right, and atoms. By listening to Om, the yogis became a true Brahmachari, or one who is attuned to Brahman. By deep concentration, the devotee can hear Om at any time and in any space or place. All right? So you find that the Om symbol is also within the Greek, the Alpha and Omega. All right? The A is clearly a Vesica Piscean, while the uppercase is a triangle. The omega lowercase resembles two vesicle Pisces, while the uppercase surrounds in completion. In Christianity, God said, I am the Alpha and Omega. Look at the shapes in the comparison of the flower of life and sacred, all right, geometric shapes. Allah's written in Arabic, note the multiple alphas and omegas. Tao, written in Chinese, the alpha and omega. The Hindu, sound is symbol of creation, written in Sanskrit. Again, note the alpha and omega. Okay? So, this symbolizes the divine word, the logo, the word made flesh. The word was with God, the word became God. All right? Makur. Right? One of the names of Tahuti, which means divine sound. All right? This cosmic Om sound is the combination vibration of the three phases of nature: creation, preservation, and dissolution, operating in the physical, astral, and cultural universes. So we're talking about generator, operator, and destroyer, hence God, right? And what we find is that the Alpha and Omega symbol forms the symbol of the Ankh. And then the Ankh is broken down to 8 ancestors, which is called the 8 Arkadad gods or Neterules, or the 8 Anunnaki, which is Amun, Amenet, Nun, Nunet, Kuk, and Kauket, Heh, and Huet. These are the 8. Of course, this breaks down into the children, all right, of Atum. Atum had Shu, Tefnut, Geb-Nut. Geb-Nut had Osar, Set, Nebhet, and Orset. Those are the 8 that sprung out from Atum. This is nothing more than the 8 cells that formed your physical body into existence, called cellular division, called your blastula pores, or the 8 dividing cells of mitosis. All right, in the Metronetia hieroglyphics, they're called the Ogadads. The 8 deities were arranged in 4 females and male pairs. The females were associated with the snakes, and the males were associated with the frogs. Okay? And those 8 cells never change your whole entire life. And it's from these 8 cells come forth the power of Kundalini up the spinal column to enlighten the mind by sparking the pineal gland, to awaken the eye, to give you the ability in order to soar, have out-of-body experiences, what is called also soul travel, soul projection. Right, here's a chart that tells you that when one dreams, one's consciousness naturally shifts to the back of the head. This is more so in the case when one has a lucid dream. One's reptilian brainstem, right, the reticular activating formation, right, determines the depths of one's quantum realm dreams. It is via one lucid dreams, one can contact another form of intelligence, which the ancient Egyptians considered to be associated with Sirius. In essence, one's lucid dreams are one's personal stargate. Orion, Osiris, is a shaman. Orion, which means heaven. Orion symbolizes the hypnagogic state of trance. Under that, you have, which is the king's chamber. Under that, you have the queen's chamber, which is the eye, star, Isis, Sirius, the pineal gland, All right. The door to lucid dreams shift to the back of the head, the cerebellum. Then you have the pons. Then you have one's consciousness can shift towards the back or beyond the top of one's head, whereby one spirit can fly as Horus, Heru, the hawk. This is out of body experience. One's consciousness can shift towards the front of one's head. This induces an OOBE, or out of body experience. Ingress and egress into and out the spirit world of the quantum dream. So the I was Anu. The one eye was Anu. So Anu was not and is not what we believe that it is, based on Zachariah Ascension's rendition, making us think that it was just an extraterrestrial from outer space somewhere. And he came down with his 50, children, or whatever the case was. What we find out is that Anu actually are people, and that Anu were the first or original people of this epoch of man's history. As the original type 1 Homo sapiens, their time of dominance extended from around 200,000 years ago to more than 25,000 years ago. After this time, another form of man called Homo sapiens sapien type 2 became principally dominant. In terms of stature, the Anu was a short or diminutive people standing around 4 feet 3 inches on average. Typically, they had rounded faces, very little body hair. Their skin was of brownish, melanic hue. Later populations of Anu built the beginning of the major cities and complex societies. The world comprises civilizations we have just to fully comprehend. So much for being Homo sapiens sapien from the Homo sapiens, when the Homo sapiens was one who was building all the good shit. For instance, their later progeny produced the earliest produced the earliest foundations of societies like the pre-dynastic Kemet, Egypt, Sumer, Elam, and Chaldees of Mesopotamia, Angkor Wat, the Seminole Shang dynasty in the Far East Asia, as well as societies throughout the Americas, Oceanic, and the Pacific Islands. Towards the end of their reign, the Anu people developed metal smelting. And of course, this metal smelting is millions, billions of years old. All right, they found, as we told you before, that's why you can't believe anything and everything that historians say. However, you can utilize the information if it rolls together, if it makes sense. When you read the Forbidden Archaeology with Michael Cremo and Richard L. Thompson, I've shown this dozens of times, of these metallic spheres, or spheres, dating back 2.8 billion years ago, of this unknown metal in which that involved smelting. So the Anu people developed smelting, metal smelting. No, this is billions of years ago. And this was some 30,000 years ago, right? Much further back than that. And much further back than that. Around the same time, there was created the concept of fishing using nets, evolved agriculture so that man did not have to wander, originating various styles of arts, craft, architecture, and sciences. All right. They talking about the Twa people, the so-called pygmy, which they were saying that the pygmies are what they refer to as the Homo erectus. No, the pygmies are the Homo sapien, right? And they go much further back than some damn 300, 200,000, 300,000 years ago, right? They've taken zeros off. How about 30 million years? Right? And we'll show you that. Right? This is what's going on. They're trying to play us. Get the book of Gods and Men, Egypt's Old Kingdom, of my good friend Wayne Chandler. All right? Even The Hidden Life in Freemasonry by Charles W. Ledbetter, 33 Degrees, he says that Pygmies race was a relic of the old Lemurians and represented people more purely than any other people. The Lemurians were at one time a gigantic people, so they were tall, but in the process of dying out, they diminished in size. The African Bushmen also remnants of the same race, but it was very at a mixed blood. And the same thing and true of those who are usually called the Australian Aborigines, except that in this case there is very admixture of Aryan blood. And at one time, the Pygmies were spread over a great deal more of Africa than at present, hell, over the world. And some of them were the first people to enter Egypt. And see here, in God's Spacemen in Ancient West by Raymond Drake, he says that the Pygmies inhabited Earth for 30 million years. So see, they trying to say that the Pygmies just got here. You know what I'm saying? Right here, 200,000 years ago or so. And of course, based on Zechariah's Ascension, he says 300,000 years ago. But we know for the fact that they was here because in the British Museum, they have a 28 million year old human skeleton in the basement at the British Museum from the Caribbean island of Guadalupe. And this is documented. All right, documented. So this is why you can't believe. So let me say this, because there's a lot of people out here trying to teach old blood type is this, old blood type is that. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that. Right? All that is bullshit. Right? Let's go back to the oldest people on the face of the planet, who are the Twa people. What is their blood type? Right? It seems like things were not something that the group that settled the world carried. It says, and so right, it said, because it is from some of the people that never went out of Africa. It is blood groups that was mainly found in people from Africa or in a few African Americans. Seems like this thing was not something that the group that settled the world carried. The U antigen is a highly incident antigen occurring in more than 99.9% of the population. The U was originally short for universal, though this is not the case. U negative RBCs can be found in people of African descent. This mutation in red blood surfaces structure also makes the RBCs S and S negative, S and S negative. Anti-U's have been associated with both hemophilic transfusions, reactions, and hemolytic diseases of newborns. It says that U negative is a specific blood type found in 1 out of 250 African Americans. Most Black Americans and all white Americans have one of the more familiar types, A, B, AB, or O. When you consider that Black people comprises 12 to 13% of the population of the United States, that means that only about 1 out of every 2,100 Americans has this red blood type. For example, the U negative blood type occurs only in Black people. Okay, said Dr. W. Lawrence Marsh. All right, senior vice president of the center. No white people have ever been found to be U negative. All right, so this is the original blood. Stop with that old blood type shit. You following Europeans, Albions, that's telling you about A, B, A, B, O. U negative is the original blood type. The Pygmies had that blood type. Right? For those who never went outside of Africa. Those that went outside of Africa, they have these other blood types. We have these other blood types. Right? It says right here, No white person has ever been found to be U negative. It is a blood type just like any other, but it doesn't occur very much. And if you need U negative for any person, then you have got to have black donors. And so the problem is for us to identify black donors. It makes no sense to screen 100,000 whites for U negative when no U negative white blood or white person has ever been found. See, this is real study. So see, you hearing all these clowns on YouTube telling you about only A, B, and ABO and O, but they ain't never tell you about U blood type. See, this is real research here. Controversially, or conversely, excuse me, other whites have the blood types Val negative and land negative. Dr. Marshes, they are records of people having a blood type that exists only in a remote village or in one family. Okay? But that is the Duffer blood that U negative Duffer blood type in which that the pygmies have. Okay? This is what they had as they was called the Anu people. So it was not old blood type. Stop with the lies. See, this is what happens when you don't do enough research. And you're gonna have to say Dr. Alim is the first one to tell you this. That's the problem now. Negroes be taking my information, but they don't keep studying. That's the problem. Get the book, Return of the Ancient Ones, by Empress Verdiasi Tierra Gaston El-Bey. She speaks of the Anna is Hebrew for the Egyptian On, or On, which is Kemetic city. On is also called the city of the sun. This sun is none other than the planet Sirius. Sirius in Greek, that means great sun. And Nu equals the nigger in its original form, and it stands for divine Negroes, or those who came down to earth from heaven. The Sirius star system is connected to the planet X, which is coming towards Earth. And who is the Anu? The divine Negroes. And who is that? Well, the originals are our ancestors, known as the Twa, pygmies. Here they are. And at one time, as stated by the Albion, they was much taller than they are now. C.W. Ledbetter in the Hidden Life in Freemasonry. This is some of this information is hidden by the Masons. So you got to go and read. Ain't none of the information that's in Masonry hidden or secret, really. Just got to read. It's hidden because most people don't read. Put it in the book. That's what it says, right? Get this book by Nancy Redstar. Right? We plan on having it on air soon. Right? We're still doing the radio shows. So check with us. But here, Nancy Redstar says this. In her star ancestors, Indian wisdom keepers share the teachings of the extraterrestrials. Right? This is what it says. That the vast number of souls came from the stars, and particularly Sirius, Orion, Pleiades, Arcturus, and etc. And this is told to us in Job 9:9. Right? She tells us that the Blackfoot tribe teaches that every star was once a human being. Well, we told you the same thing. And this is quantum physics. In quantum physics, they tell you the same thing. Right? In Black Root Science, it says the stars are the condensation of the minds of our ancestors who came from the previous universe. There it is. Every nigga is a star. All right? Every nigga is a star. That's what's going on. In 9600 BCE, the Bongo, Kango, Ifa, the Akha, and the Twa, the Anu peoples that lived in the forest at the foot of the Taba, mountain of the moon. All right. The Anu said that in the beginning there was Ilama, right? Ilama, Elam, Alim, Alim. That's my name. Supreme Being, the Tahu, sacred tree, and the Tahuti, moon god, and Baba Tiba, mountains of the moon. The Anu gathered fruits, nuts, and plants. All right. Some Anu moved northeast of Baba Taba Shaluk. Nur was the Sudan, and the Anu Ak, and the Tasseti and the Tanessian, Ethiopia. Ori of the Anu, which is Ori Anu, which is Orion, is listed in Ethiopian records as the first Nagai, which is Nagas, which is nigger, the Negro, the divine Negroes. 4530 BCE, the first calendar speaks of the date of this of the Saturn. First known calendar starts at 4241 BC with the helical rising of the Sirius star. The Sirius star. First alphabet appears around 4100 BC. And these are very conservative dates here. You don't have to go by them. Just go and do more research and you find even older dates than all of these dates given. Right? But all these dates are before the Albion was even on the planet. The Anu people lived in the highland, studied the stars, the moon, and the sun. Moreover, upon the drying up of the lakes, the Anu people developed a system of water navigation between the interconnected lakes and rivers. Okay? So, I just want to read that, but back to what Nancy Redstone was saying. The Blackfoot tribes teach that every star was once a human being. The Dakota speaks of the spirits in the sky often descended to earth in human form. The Hopi call them Kachina, right? Matter of fact, the red star Kachina has come through the sky. All right, I showed pictures of this earlier on, about a month or two ago. All right, the Iroquois tells of a woman falls from the sky. The Uraka teaches that man came from a previous world. Same thing that we just told you. The Algonquin tells of a spirit descended from the sky under the guise of man. The Chippewa tells of Besuni Uneka, a man from the stars. The Cree speaks of Sky Father along with the trickster, aided man and taught man civilization. The Osage refers to Mikaki, or the star people, according to Nancy, to Star Ancestors by Nancy Red Star. She says, when it is time to repopulate the earth, many spirits came from other planets. As the spirits entered the atmosphere, they took on the atomic structure, which formed into a body. When we exit, we dematerialize the atomic structure. All right, that's some deep teachings. So let's look at Sirius. Get the books, The Sirius Mystery, Robert Temple, The Pale Fox, all right, The Sirius Connection, Unlocking the Secret of Ancient Egypt. They speak of the fact that the Dogon as a symbol of a system of a group of stars and planets, that it says that the placenta is used by the Dogon as a symbol of the system or group of stars or planets. Our own solar system seems to be referred to as Ogo placenta. All right, so remember I told you before that Sirius B imploded, and from that implosion came forth our sun, and our sun formed these planets, right? So our sun would be typically known as Ogo, right? Symbolizes that placenta breaking forth from out of the womb of Sophia, which would be symbolic to Sirius constellation, right? Whereas the solar system of the Sirius and its companion star and satellites is referred to as Nomos placenta. right? Nomos collective, named for the great cultural hero and founder of civilization who came from the Sirius system to set up society on Earth. Nomo, or to be more precise, the Nomos were amphibious creatures. This is talking about your semen, as we broke down before, and ought to be seen in the two tribal drawings, all right, of figure 32, 34 in Sirius Mysteries. These nomos are more or less equivalent with the Sumerians and Babylonian traditions of Onans. All right. So here we look at the Sirius Mysteries again, and Robert Temple says the Dogon are an African tribe located mainly in the Bandia Gora. All right. And the Dowunsitse, um, districts of Mali, West Virginia. The tribe's population about 300,000, being mostly heavily concentrated along a 200-kilometer stretch of escarpment called the Cliffs of Bandiagara, all right, in which that they have managed to use to fashion some spectacular dwellings for themselves, right? I'm gonna come down. The Dogon told the anthropologists that Sirius was the home of the gods who had made them who they are. They told them that Sirius is the smallest and heaviest thing there is, and that it was white in color, and that it had a companion star invisible to the human eye, but it was heavy and it rotated on its axis, thus further described in having a circle of reddish rays around it, in which that is a light spot spreading by staying still. Dogon oral traditions also quite animately states that they have known for thousands of years that Jupiter has moons and Sirius had rings around it. Right? So it's called Soptic. Sirius is called Soptic. This is the symbol here. What looks like a mound, a five-pointed star, and a triangular symbol. Right? So what we find out is that according to many, that the Sirians are the original builders of planetary architecture. And this is why some higher factions of the Sirius race, the Lyrian Sirian Council, that lives in the Law of One, are also called guardians or the guardian hosts. The Sirius stars of the Canis Major constellation acts as a transmission agent and higher self principle that from the Earth, planet Earth in universal time matrix. All right. So it says that the Sirians have both positive and negative impact on the Earth evolution, as the star Sirius is a planet in higher dimensions, and portions of the timeline of Sirius B were corrupted, right, through the Orion group and reptilian invasion. Right, during the second seeded phase of the planet Earth, renegades from Sirius that was influenced by the Luciferian Marduk race decided that they wanted to create their own host bodies and get away from the administrative structure of many ambassador bases that exist in the star system Sirius. Now, of course, all it is, many people would say, oh, this is some new age bullshit. But what we do know, right, is that there were bodies made for the inhabitation of these Meldekian spirits. All right? They were called the Albion. Now, the Sirian, or Sirius B, who holds to the second cycle of seeding the human race on the planet and its retaliation to their planet, to their power and control over the Earth evolution. The ancient Anunnakians adapted their new relatives from Nibiru, Neberu. They demanded that the Sirians that their race had placed to evolve on Earth as an equal placement to the human beings, because they did not have the ability to evolve with Source Creator. This was a hidden deception that was not interested in equality or evolution on the Earth, but that the giant Nephilim could be controlled easily and directly by them off Earth. Okay, some of this is is going into some other things which I'm not going to go into. But here, the creation of the universe said the third universe was created by the black and brown Syrians, or Halu Council Elohim, it of which was the dense physical plane then. When the first dense physical plane vibratory beings had existed then, who were the physical, non-heavenly black and Syrian brown Syrians, right? As was the great creator of the flesh, first flesh being Syrians then, who was fully dense physical beings then, looking as we do today. We who are merely descendants of such third dimensional, third universal beings, the black and brown Syrians. Okay? And then, of course, it says the planet Mars had a huge hollow Mars base, which the Syrians also occupied. All right? But here, some books in which that help you out. Not only did Robert Temple's books go into some of this mythology or the pale fox or the Sirius connection, but also the signs of the Dogons, the sacred symbols of the Dogons, the cosmological origin of the myth and symbols from the Dogon, ancient Egypt to India, Tibet, and China by Lord Stranton. Forget the book Explorer Race, right? Zush in Time Historian through Robert Shapiro. Right? He said, I would say that the Syrians, both positive and negative, were here about the same time. They were the founding beings. Syrians has been involved in the beginning of the seeding of this planet and the creation of the dark-skinned races, the area of the Pleiades. And the Syrians created beings here, the Tone civilization and the offshoots, including Jehovah group and the representation and the representative from very positive and loving places on Sirius, who followed Jehovah millions of years later. All right, you have all have one thing in common: dark skin. You pale skins didn't come along until a whole lot later. All right, dark like African or Indian, or like African, ranging all the way to lighter skinned people from India, possibly as light as olive, like people from the Mediterranean, who's talk with a range from dark, who's talking about a range from dark to olive. No pale faces until much later. Do you know why? They felt not only were they already that color, but the sun's energy was so strong that beings, the third planet from the sun, the dark skinned races would be more durable. I might add that the lighter skinned races were never meant or never intended to be on this planet. Johnny come latelys. Right? Now I didn't write the book. This is Explorer Race, Robert Shapiro. Right? Now you go to his other book, The Explorer Race, The Earth, History, and the Lost Civilizations. Right? He says long ago when Earth was in Sirius. So Earth was in Sirius spiritually. All right? Long ago when this planet was still in the Sirius system, star system, the surface of the planet, its contour was similar, not exactly the same, but similar. Some of the mountains that you have here now was much taller. Some were still growing. Perhaps the most striking difference was that much of the planet was covered by water. All right, so who are they talking about that are these Syrians? Well, let's go down and see. The Nomo plays an important role in Earth evolution. Right now, there are guardians and guides of the groups of etheric Syrians who are in the dolphins, whales, and mermaids' bodies in order to maintain the biosphere of the Earth, which I've talked about this already on several videos. Go back and watch them. The etheric Syrians are a group that was given Earth as their new home when their former home, Sirius B, imploded. See, one and the same. When Earth ascended, ascends, the Ethereal Sirians will take over as the guardians of their planet. Those in aquatic form will have to choose to change form or take on a human body, walk the earth as land guardians. Many of the Ethereans in aquatic form are making this choice now and therefore are beaching themselves. They are returning to the normal home world for training on being in the human body so that they can return to the earth as land guardians. Those who are of the etheric Etherean soul groups are usually very drawn to the whales and dolphins. They're also can be found in organizations and groups which focus on healing of the earth and conserving her resources. Right. So they speak of these Etherean Syrians. All right. Well, who are they talking about? Well, blacks that came from the star Sirius, which in the modern day is called Heaven, Orion. All right. You can get this from Bobby Hemmett's. He edited the book, The Melanin People. All right. He talks about this in there. You have this other book, the Khan, other Africans and the Sirius star system. All right. This is what this is talking about. All right, this is why you have the elliptical pattern of the star constellation Sirius A and Sirius B. In the constellation Sirius A, Sirius B, that travel around each other every 50 years or so. And this is why we have the Jubilee year 50, which is mentioned in the Old Testament, one and the same, for the happiness concerning Sirius A and Sirius B, as that is the foundation. For Sirius is considered by the ancient Egyptians to be the most important star in the sky, which, based on astronomy, is the foundation of our entire spiritual and physical lawful system. Right? And because of this elliptical pattern of Sirius A and Sirius B is what formed our DNA. And right, in fact, you get the Journal of Biological Physics. It states that scientists have found that the stream of energy from Sirius travels in specific directions, either up or down the galactic arm in which they are embedded. Stars are polarized to other stars, both negative, which is magnetic, and positive, electrical or electric. Some receiving energy, some sending it out, all of which travels on the path of magnetic field lines. Recent findings reveals we are downstream from Sirius in a part of the galactic arm of our solar system that we reside in. New energies are flowing into Earth at an unprecedented degree. Sirius transmits its energies, highly charged photonic light particles, to our entire system via the magnetic field line. We literally receive energy from Sirius, right? And this is in the Holy Quran, 53rd chapter, which is called Al-Najm, the star, 49th ayat, that he is the Lord of Sirius, the mighty star. Right? This is by Yusuf Ali. So it tells us this, right? And the manifestation of that and how to utilize, how we got from the star Sirius and how we can get back to the star Sirius is talking about us transforming just like Enoch into Metatron, right? And this transfiguration is spoken of in the Bible and is talking about actually of transforming our carbon body, all right? Transform our carbon body, as we talked about before, 6 carbon times 6 silica, right? Times 2. Each one equals 72 wings of Metatron, or as we would say, 616, all right, or 666, as it was, which is carbon 12. And then we go to 616, which would be carbon 7. All right. And carbon 7 is the material equivalent of Kundalini system, as well as the Metatron cube. And like iron has the ability of sustaining a magnetic field around it, carbon 7 has the uncanny ability to carry hyperdimensional fields, such as fields of thoughts around it. Thus, it can amplify thoughts in other hyperdimensional fields, just as iron and copper, and a transformer can amplify magnetic fields. Naturally, it is forming in the brain of spiritual adepts, right? This is DMT, blah, 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 right? And this is what helps form our macabre, right? And you get the book, The Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life by Dralimelbey Melchizedek. He says that the word macabre is made up of three smaller words, merkaba. These words as was used, that we are using them, came from ancient Egypt. There are several pronunciations of macabre, such as macabre, makaba, and makaba or makaba. All right. Mer means light, counter rotating full of light. Ka means spirit. Ba means soul via body. All right. In ancient Kemetic Egypt, this primal pattern was called the macabre. There are actually three words, as we said, and it's spoken of in the book, The Zulu Bone Oracle, the African history by the Zulu shaman by the name of Mutwa. And he says it. He says that the Zulu claim Earth as their seventh world. In their sixth world, the planet Mars, the forerunners of the Zulu and all southern African tribes were severely threatened by a powerful foe from other worlds, and so that the chance of saving themselves was slim. They proceeded to prepare their weapons, and then they went one step further in an attempt to save their race. The fairies, meaning the most beautiful of all their women, were impregnated by their male folks, not Europeans, because there was nowhere thought of at this time period in this sense. Impregnated by their male folks and then placed in circular flying vehicles, each of them 3 wheels. This space vehicle is known throughout Central and Southern Africa as Merkaba, and the Merkaba were sent off of the world course of Earth to Earth. This we get the Superman story from, if it sounds familiar to you. And thus, when the women transported to safety on this planet to give birth and to their offsprings and continue the race, right? Mutwa in the book also says that they still talk of the women as being macabre, right? Scientists discovered human circadian rhythm is set to the planet Mars. Is that a coincidence? No, but it is. And that correlates perfectly with the Zulu Bone Oracle, right? Fudu, all right? In which that Mutwa did the introduction. And this also correlates to the fact of doing the macabre. And this is by Yogi Shranananda. And he said, ascension is achievable when you unify through the heart center all your chakras into one and balance the threefold flame within your heart, where God is through the universal omni macabre of love of multiple light body activity or activation. Okay? So the macabre activation technique involves a process which the human body can transform into light. Adam Catman, meaning heavenly man, mind, or universal prana, translate by an incredible birth into the new world. Into a new world. It is achieved through a meditation that requires the mind, heart, and body and spirit to completely integrate in one pattern to light and transcend the human limitations of this reality. Like, this is what people talk about when they seen an individual and the individual just disappeared or became light and then disappeared. It's the monthly development of the macabre. Of course, they have what is called the rainbow body and so forth and so on, but most of the time they have to die, and within 3 to 7 days had to be transfigured into light and then going into that next dimension. You can actually do your macabre right now, learning the 18 breath technique, 24 breath technique, the 28 breath technique by Dralimelbey Melchizedek, and unify, as we just said here, the mind, heart, body, and spirit or soul, and soul into a unified integrative pattern in which that is called the macabre or Metatron cube, in which that would give you the ability to jump from this so-called apparent third dimension into higher dimension, right? Dr. York, who was known as Malachi Z. York or Z. Gill, or also known as Agnes Imam Isa El Hati Al Amati, in his book Signs of of, of Healing, he speaks of that the body can be turned into a ship by utilizing the seven seats of chakras of the body, and each of these seats is a gland, your endocrine gland. And as I said before, you can learn how to vibrate on a certain tone. The tone would, of course, be Om. And when you do this, all the seats of the glands line up and vibrate, giving you the ability to turn into energy. These seats are your secondary set of senses that helps you stay in tune with the spiritual world. You still have them, yet they are latent in you. Right? So Dr. York also told us the same thing. And he tells you that in the science of healing that at the pineal gland is called the lamb. The pituitary gland is called the third eye. Right? So here we find that the lamb, that area that is above the lamb, as they would say, because that's symbolic to the pineal gland, um, you have what's called the Washita, or the Tamarian word Usheta, or Wajeta, all right, which the word um, means basically the winged sun disk, or Washet, all right, which is talking about signifies the freedom and expansion, mind, soul, Ra, Atan. In our Saurian mythology, Heru defeats Set by becoming Ur-Washet, or the winged sun disk, and the all-encompassing divinity. Thus, it was decreed by Tahuti, that the Ur-Washet should be seen decorated over every temple as protection from evil in a Asari mythology. You can get this from the Book of the Dead by by E.A. Wallace Budge. All right, but here we have the picture on page 15 in Dr. Layla's Africa book. He don't have this picture in the new book. This is in his own old revised, in his old edition, not the revised one that he has now. But he shows you this, that this was the actual photograph of the brain, inside the brain, human brain being blown up to equivalent size of a car. Right, and above the pineal gland, you have this galaxy-like cloud. This is what we call the wing sun disk, or the Washeta, all right, which becomes the word Washita, or Washet, Washita, all right, Washita. All right, so here, we also know that the 42nd negative confessions, known as the 42 laws of Mayat, the 30th one, it says, Hell, Lord of Faces, Neb Heru, who coming forth from the Nechfet, I have not judged hastily. All right, so Neb Heru, the Lord of Faces, the name of one of the 42 judges. All right, Neb Heru means Lord, Master, Sovereign. All right, so this is the seat of sovereignty right here above the pineal gland. This is what it's meant. You see the man inside of this galaxy-like cloud, the soul traveling the astral planes. All right, all of this talking about the doorway to El, hence the stairway to heaven, Babylon, Babel. All right, hence Babel, the doorway to El. Similar, here it is: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 Netcherus to the eye of Ra, because this is the eye of Ra. This is the eye of Ra in Samaria, Mesopotamia, Arcadia, Assyria. All right, so all of that is talking about the coming of the kingdom. Luke 17:19. Then Jesus said to them, Rise and go, your faith has made you well. When asked by the Pharisees when the kingdom of God will come, Jesus replied, the kingdom of God will not come without observable signs. Nor will people say, look here, it is, or look, or there it is. For you see the kingdom of God is in your midst. No, the kingdom of God is within you. So we find that the soul comes down inside of this cross, which is talking about in between the fontanelle, all right, which is You have the front and the back frontanelle, or the interior and the posterior frontanelle. The frontanelle comes up into four pieces as a child is born, and it has a soft spot there. And these four sections symbolizes um, man, lion, ox, and eagle, right? Which are the four beasts mentioned in Ezekiel and in the book of Revelations. All right. These are nothing more than areas in the brain. That's what it is. Areas in the brain. All right. Um, you have man, right, which is the area in the brain. And the area in the brain is called the media, Lanchudeo, Fas, Fasci, um, Chula, all right, in that area in the brain. Then you have the lion, which is the cerebellar, um, peduncle, or the interior olive. You have the ox area as part of the brain here. You have um, you have the area of the eagle, which looks like this dove. This is meant by the dove came over the head of Jesus as he was baptized in the River Jordan by John the Baptist. But these are the four symbols externally. We become the four basic constellations as within, so as without, so within. Right, Luke is happy, ox, Taurus, earth, spring, north. Right, Mark is Dormufti, lion, Leo, fire, summer, east. All right, Matthew's Imseti, angel, officius, water, atom, autumn, and John, Sebedev, Sinanuf, eagle, Aquilia, air, winter, west. All right, all of that is symbolic. Right, to the four sons of Heru. All right, Seven Sinuf is intestines, fire. Duamutif is stomach, earth. Happy, lungs, water. Imseti, liver, air. So this dove signifying regeneration. The dove symbolizes the Holy Spirit of God, and is equivalent in the Sanskrit is prana. Prana is the universal life force energy, the cosmic regenerative force, and which originally was drawn through the prana tube. Once the soft spot at the head, top of the head, which is called the anterior fontanelle, produces the flow of DMT. So here you have the area in the head. Right? This is the cross that you must bear. What are the fontanelles? Well, X marks the spot. It's the soft spot at the top of the head that allows the head to pass through the birth canal. This allows the brain to grow in the skull before fusing together. Yeah, not special care, but the baby's head should be protected. This is why the babies wear the protection over the head. This is why Muslims wear the protections, the yarmulke, the kufi. The Catholics wear the yarmulke type of head. So everyone in the basic religions continue wearing the protection. This is even shown by Ptah, as he still wore his skull cap of head covering. But here we have Jesus on the cross. At the cross where I first saw the light, and the burden of my heart rolled away, rolled away. Yeah, yeah, y'all remember that. Come on now. It ain't been that damn long since y'all niggas been out of church. But right here, right, this is the cross that we must bear. It's talking about the human body, arm, leg, arm, supreme head. All right, that's what we must bear, the human body. Right. So here it is. The soul comes down into the fontanelle, the anterior fontanelle, and which is right where the area in which that they talk about the pineal gland goes, and the soul goes and resides within the pineal gland, just like Rene Descartes states in his philosophy that the pineal gland is the seat of the soul. So this is the cross that you must bear. Right? This is the cross. All right. So we're gonna come back. All right, we're gonna end right here and come back with another part. All right, and continue on with this science, the realness. All right, we're gonna come on back with the realness. All right. So what we're gonna say is, as we usually say, continue now for days, weeks, months, and years to come. We're moving towards our most cherished goals of health, wealth, knowledge of ourselves, protection, security, better economic condition, and full contentment. Every action, enterprise, and endeavor in which that we wish to be involved is bringing increasing rewards. We have so much joy, abundance, and happiness and success in our life that we're able to help and share with those who are sincere along the way. We're moving closer toward the oneness of God and Goddess and the full release of our higher inner selves. And we out, y'all. Peace.